Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Welcome to Ask Rob and Rob. It's the show where we answer your property questions. And the show, of course, starts with you. So we like to make it really simple for you to send your questions our way.
We do. Head over to propertyhub.net/ask. That's propertyhub.net/ask. There, you can leave us a message. You can call us and leave a voicemail if you prefer. Or if you want to write in with your question, we have our wonderful column in the Sunday Times each and every Sunday in the home section. So if you want to get your question in that way, you can as well. Right, I love it when this happens. Somebody has not put their name on their recording or mentioned their name in the recording. So this week we get to make up the name of this person. So let's listen to our first question in from Cuthbert.
Hi, Rob and Rob. I started listening to your show like maybe 5 years ago, and it's been a great show. Was inspired to buy a property 5 years ago, a bit of money I had, and with affordability, I bought something in Greater Manchester, the best I could afford, which ended up being like a 100-year-old house. And I tried to cut a long story short. I had to have to do a fair few fixes over 5 years, and I had a major one recently where I had to put an insurance claim in, and that has been a really stressful experience for me, especially with I don't know the outcome of the insurers because they have to come out and investigate, and it's postponed the work I've had to do on it, and they won't let me begin the work. So I'm really frustrated with the system and with the future of the restrictions that they're putting into landlords. I'm not sure if I see it's favouring one side or the other, but I just know that the government obviously are not helping landlords in the future. So I wouldn't mind to see your opinion. Like if I sold this property, I'd get maybe 15k, which is maybe slightly over double what I invested 5 years ago. But then if I had to rebuy everything, I'd have to pay stamp duty on top of that. If I take money out, I won't have enough money to invest into anything. So it's not helped me out in that regard, unfortunately. So I would like to hear your opinion in the situation, and maybe if it is worth selling the property to reinvest it somewhere with 50k at the current time, what I could do with having to include the stamp duty with that investment. That'd be great to hear from you. Thanks very much, Rob.
Cuthbert, you don't sound like a Cuthbert, but anyway, thank you for your question. And I do apologise. I feel like we're responsible here because we inspired you to buy a property that hasn't gone all that well. I say all that well, you still made 50 grand potentially, so it's not a bad mistake if you class it as one. Now, normally, the rule here is just stick to your properties, don't sell for the sake of selling and buy something else because of the transaction costs. And you've identified that in your question. However, we do often talk about that if you have a dud property, a problem property in your portfolio, then feel free to get rid. And it sounds like, based on what you've said, this could be potentially one of those properties. If you went and purchased a property that was newer, doesn't have to be new, but newer or in really good condition, then the chances of you having all these issues are going to be a lot lower. You know, people do buy older houses because they've got character, and I can absolutely see the merit in that. But for buy-to-let, this can happen and does happen more than you'd believe. So I would say, Cuthbert, that the amount of time this property is draining from you, not just funds, but time, because your time is more valuable than your funds, that I would consider looking at other options. Just start to see what's out there. Start to see what a 50k deposit, including your costs, could get you, what options are available to you, and then maybe progress from there if you get confidence. So I think there's no harm in looking into it. That's where I'd start with. And then once you've got an alternative, then you can decide whether you go ahead or not. So generally the rule would be to stick with what you've got, but as it is a bit of a problem property, I'd consider your options and then make a decision. Good luck.
Okay, let's have our next question from someone who has given us their name.
Hey, Rob and Rob. I love the podcast. Seriously, it's been awesome. I'm Rafael from London, and I've been tuning in for over a year now. I'm also a big fan of Rob D's book. I'm subscribed to all your format, including email and YouTube, so I'm fully in on all the content you're putting out. Here's my situation. I've got a tenant who's 3 months behind on rent. She tries to set up a payment plan, but hasn't been able to stick to it. I'm just trying to figure out my right here, both in terms of recovering the rent and, if needed, eviction, especially with the recent changes in the law. What is the best way to go about this while making sure I'm staying on the right side of the law? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
Rafael, thank you for your question. But actually, no, not thank you, because I'm going to play the bad guy now. The hard reality here is that you've got someone who's 3 months behind. Once someone is 3 months behind, they are extremely unlikely to ever catch up again, especially if they've tried and failed already. And you did exactly the right thing by trying to get them on a payment plan. And that could have worked. It does sometimes work, but it hasn't worked. Then that means that at some point, you are going to need to do something about this, because chances are the longer it goes on, the bigger the problem is going to get. And of course, how you deal with that is a legal matter, but it's also a personal matter. Exactly how understanding do you want to be versus how hard-nosed do you want to be? You asked about the upcoming change of legislation. Well, with them being 3 months in arrears, chances are they'll go further into arrears. That'll take them into the category of serious arrears under the new laws, which means if that arrears is still there when it comes to court, then you must be given possession. The issue that you might have, of course, is you don't know how long it will take to come to court, because when the new laws do come in, it's going to put the courts under a lot of pressure. So on the face of it, if it were me on this situation, this is something that I would be trying to resolve now rather than waiting, because it's likely to take longer to sort in the future. Bear in mind, though, that this is just based on your quick message, so there might be other factors. You might be more optimistic about things sorting themselves out. I don't know. I'm just saying what I would do on the basis of your message. I would say, though, that in these situations, especially everything that's going on at the moment, you really want to make sure that you do this properly. Because if you make any mistakes in the process at all, it could seriously delay things, and that could cost you a lot of money. So if you're not completely confident that you've done everything that you need to do, so you haven't done anything that will accidentally invalidate proceedings, or if you're not completely confident about the process you need to go through, how to serve the right notices, do get some support, get some legal help. Because even though that will cost you more money and you're out of pocket already, it'll ultimately save you a lot compared to trying to go it alone and making a mistake. So, Rafael, hope that helps. Good luck. I hope you get it sorted.
So that's just done for another week. Thank you for listening. And hopefully you will join us again on Thursday for the Property Podcast. And if you're really keen, you'll be opening the pages of the Sunday Times on Sunday to see us answering your questions there. Until those wonderful events take place, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.